interviewed Cindy Lee several weeks ago now when it was sunny and nice outside, and I think a lot of people thought it was probably one of the last sunny days. And so there were folks who were mowing their lawns, using an air compressor, washing their fences, and there's some background noise, but I think we eliminated most of that. But I hope you enjoy this interview with Cindy, and thank you, Cindy, for being willing to share what it means to be those who dream. So what do you think it means to be like those who dream?
Well, in considering that question, I thought a lot about just dreams that everyone has as they're growing up. I even recalled seeing babies on ultrasounds that would have smiles on their faces, and you're thinking, what are they thinking about? What are they dreaming about? Maybe they're thinking, gee, it's nice and warm in here, and I don't think I want to come out for a while. So dreams are a way of having a different way to look at our lives and be able to have something to look forward to. Maybe they don't always come true, but if you have a dream that's really strong, I think it's something you work toward, and if it's really important to you, then you'll work even harder toward that goal. And so I think everyone has to have a dream. Otherwise, life would be really kind of sad. You wouldn't have anything to look forward to. Just like kids at Christmas, they're hoping for getting that gift that they really want, and maybe they don't get that, but they're looking forward to something. So I think dreaming is something we all need to do.
And what does it look like to live as those who dream? You kind of touched on that a little bit, that you kind of need a dream.
You need a dream. You need to have goals. You need to set goals in your life, and I think work toward them, whether it's in your Christian life. I had a goal as a young person that I really wanted to have a Christian life because neither of my parents lived real strong lives in the church. And so I always thought that would be a dream for me, to be able to go to church and have that be important to me. And then, like I told you, I met a preacher's kid, and so I really didn't have a choice. And not that I didn't want to, be in a church, but that sort of answered a few questions for me and what my life would be like. But it also helped me to plan to raise children in the church, because that had been something that was a little lacking in my own life. So I think that's part of what you would do.
Yeah. And how can we embody and bring forth God's dreams?
Well, I think we certainly have to pray about it and ask for His help. I don't think anyone gets by in this life without having some kind of faith or expectation that there's a higher being, that we need help from other people, but we also need to call on God to help us. And I certainly did that last year when John was ill and I was taking care of him. And so you just find out you are not alone, and you don't have to be alone if you ask for help. But I did find myself asking God for a lot of help, and I certainly had answers to those prayers. So I guess I'm a living testament that it's important to ask and have faith that God will help you out.
Yeah. So one of the final questions is for this week, week 2, is who is in need of peace, and what does it look like for them to receive it? Who is in need of peace?
Who is in need of peace? Well, I think everyone is in need of peace. I don't know that there's anyone that has such a perfect life that they don't need a little peace in it. And I think that if we have that sense of peace and tranquility, or whatever you want to call it, we are calm, we are more assured of ourselves and what direction we're taking, and maybe feel a little bit more in control of things, and also maybe feel a little bit more strong in our faith and able to live out that faith. I just can't imagine that there aren't people that don't need to have a sense of peace, and some at more times than others, and some at more stressful times than others. Just knowing that life can be positive and there's hope for people has to be what that looks like.
Have you ever experienced a sense of peace?
I certainly have. I hope I don't get too emotional, but I have had the pleasure of ushering many people out of their lives as a nurse. But I do have to say, when my husband died and I was with him at the very end, that was a true sense of peace, that he had gone to be with God and was no longer having any pain, and also knowing that, having got to that point, that I had done all that I could to help him along the way and care for him, and his family loved him, and it was a relief and certainly a sense of peace that we all had. As sad as it was a sense of peace. So yes, I do feel it certainly was, in my career, it was a privilege to be able to be with someone at the end of their lives, especially if their families couldn't be present. But in my own life, it was also that way. So I do believe I've lived it a little bit.
If you were to help someone who's wondering, how do I find peace, what might you suggest?
Well, certainly talking with someone if they're feeling very alone, and that talking can be on the phone or in person, socially distanced and masked, however that would take its form. Communication is extremely important, especially if you're alone and you're feeling very, very low. And also trying to have a strong faith in God, asking God for help, doing meditation on a daily basis. I was given a book for having gone through loss, and it's called Healing Through Meditation, and so I've been reading that every day since I received that book, and it's been very helpful, as well as reading the Bible. But I don't, I think that you can quietly ask for help from God, and not have to worry about praying in front of other people. You can do it privately, and you can also ask other people to pray for you. We have the prayer chain at church. I I know someone who prays for people all the time, and that is especially meaningful if you know someone else is praying for you. So you have to ask. You have to ask for that help. But I know you can achieve that sense of peace if you know others are behind you, and especially asking God for help.